Thanks for giving us an opportunity to tell you all about shirt recuts. Now we recommend you listen to the entire video to get all the details. Now most likely you're here because you have one or all of the problems listed here. You're not alone. There are millions of shirts hanging in closets that are never worn because they just don't fit. Now imagine a scenario where you were able to buy a brand new shirt because you love the color or the pattern and know that they can be made to fit. In this video we will show you how to find the best prospective candidate shirt. We will explain the ins and outs and give you the power to always have the best fitting shirts. You will become one of the few men that ever recognize the art of shirt recuts. Before we proceed, I would like to say that the cost for a complete recut is $25. Now this does not include any collar or cuff work. Now excluding cuff and collar, it could include any of the following: shortening sleeves, shortening shirt length, making armholes smaller, making the chest, waist, and hip smaller, narrow the shoulder width or yoke, narrow the sleeve width, remove any back or center pleats. What is a recut? Well, a recut is the art of taking a large shirt, whether it be brand new or old, and making it custom made by applying the personal body measurements you have submitted, or a sample shirt that fits you perfect. Now the sample shirt can be tweaked. For example, if the waist needs to be smaller, just tell us how much, or any part of the shirt, what tweaks you want, and we'll do it. Now why recuts? Well, recuts give you a greater selection or an opportunity to pick the patterns you like or the colors. And you'll know in advance how to pick your shirts and be assured you'll get the best fitting shirt. Now we've entered a century where the United States is no longer the manufacturing power of the world. We are in a time where countries like China can buy raw Egyptian cotton cheaper than we can, where the labor is so cheap that the wholesale cost of shirts are $2 and $3. Now these countries have the best up-to-date shirt making equipment. Now retailers are in heaven with the huge markups, but they also have tremendous competition. I say to you, wait for the sales, because retailers have to buy in bulk to compete with other retailers and always end up with excess shirts and are forced to unload before the next shipment. Have patience and you'll receive the greatest value. We recommend you wash your new shirts in hot water to shrink your shirts as much as possible before we apply the measurements you submitted or from your sample shirt. Imagine us taking measurements off an old shirt that fits you perfect and applying those measurements to the recut shirt, and then you wash and find out that they shrunk so much they don't fit. And by the way, you don't have to send your shirts out to professional laundry before you submit them to us. Wash them at home. Just make sure they're clean, and you don't even have to iron them. You can send them out to professional laundry when we get them back to you. Okay, once you've decided to do the recuts, we'll need a few things from you. You can either submit a sample shirt that fits you well. If you need any tweaking on that shirt, make note of it. For example, if the waist needs to be taken in 1/2 inch, then put waist needs to be taken inch. Whatever changes or tweaks you need to that model shirt, make a note on the tag form. The other choice would be is to watch the video of how the measurements are taken for a custom shirt and submit those measurements. At any time you can call us either toll-free or send us an email of any questions you may have regarding your submittal. Or you can actually go out to a tailor and have the measurements taken for you if you're reluctant to do that. First, going out to find your new shirts, prospective shirts for recut, the first thing you should try is to find the neck size that fits you. And don't forget to include a little bit of extra ease for shrinkage. Now, you're going to fall into one of two types. Either you have a large neck for the size of your body. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to buy the next bigger shirt to get the next size you fit. So say for example you weigh 170 pounds and you have to buy a 19-inch neck for whatever reason. Well, in most cases the body is going to be huge. Well, I say to you, buy the neck size that fits, because we can recut the body and make it into custom made. Now the other scenario would be the person that has the standard body. He buys a medium or whatever size he buys off the rack. The body fits him perfect, but the neck size is too small. So what we can do in this case is either we can make a brand new white collar. At this point you can pick any style you like, or if you don't like white collars, we can cut a piece from the shirt tail and give you whatever style collar you want to match the fabric of the body of the shirt. Now you have couple of choices. Now throughout this tutorial, we mentioned in the beginning to listen through the whole thing throughout, because there's going to be a lot of things to apply to different people for particular body reasons. So listen to the whole thing. You'll have a very good understanding of the shirt that's going to be best for your prospective shirt to get the best possible recut. Okay, once you have chosen your correct neck size, you must observe your shoulder width. Is the shirt shoulder width where it should be? If it's off the shoulder, guesstimate approximately how much. It could be 1, 2, or 3 inches, or maybe even wider than your standard, being your personal measurement. Now, why is this important? Because when we bring the shoulder width to correct position, we lose sleeve length. So for example, if your new shirt shoulder width is 2 inches wider than your personal shoulder width, we know that the sleeve length has to be at least 2 inches longer to give you the correct length. Let's say that your normal sleeve length is 34 inches and you have small shoulders. Your shoulder width on the new shirt is 2 inches too wide. Now when the shoulder width is adjusted on the new shirt, your sleeve length will end up being 32 inches. Well, obviously this is too small. So you have to prepare for this. So instead of buying a 34 inch when buying your new shirt, buy them 36, 37, or even longer. It does not matter. We will adjust your sleeve length to a 34 inch because the objective in this case is to give you balance in the shoulder width and give you the correct sleeve length. Why would someone want a new collar on a brand new shirt that they're submitting for a recut? Well, first of all, everything may fit in the shirt except for the collar. Collar's too small. So you have two choices in this case. One, you could put white collars. You can get them in any style and any size. And then the second option would be for us to cut a piece from the shirt tail and create a collar of any style and any size. So you have those two choices from the actual shirt. Now the other option would be a split collar, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. So those are the two options. That is an additional charge. So again, as we stated in the beginning, your whole priority is to find the collar that fits you to avoid getting the best possible value in your shirt recuts. Okay, what is a split collar? Basically, it's taking a collar for an individual that maybe the body fits him perfect in all aspects, sleeve length, body, but the collars are too big. And so, for example, he may have purchased a shirt with a 19-inch collar on it. The body fits him perfect now. The body fits perfect, but the collar's just too big, by say 1 inch or 2 inches. So what we do in reality, as you're looking at this graphic, we actually cut this collar in half and put it back together. And in this particular case, we made it a size 17, 2 inches we took off. And why would men do this? Well, they want the fabric to match the body of the shirt in case you're really uneasy about wearing white collars. And he liked the style, the spread of the collar. If he didn't like the spread, then it wouldn't have worked. We can't take the whole thing apart and create a new style when there's no fabric. So this would be off, recut it, put it back together, assemble it back on the neckline, and you'll have a collar that fits you. So that's an option for you. Once you have decided to have your recuts done, shipping is easy. We recommend for one shirt, use the U.S. Post Office Tyvek envelope. It's a 12 by 15. It will accommodate up to 2 shirts. Price range between $4.50 and $8, depending upon whether it's 1 or 2 shirts and where you're located in the United States. From 3 to 7 shirts, use the medium flat rate box. It's $10.35, and you can get about 7 or 8 shirts if you roll them properly into the box. There's no weight on it, so it's pretty economical. There's a video demonstrating how to pack your shirts at the collarreplacement.com entitled How to Ship Your Shirts. Now the reason we recommend the medium flat rate or Tyvek is that they are self-adhesive tabs, and you can write or mark on the address right on the box or envelope. No tape to buy or hassle. Remember to include the same amount you spent to send your package for the return trip. If you have insured them and want them insured back, enclose that amount also. Now we accept all major shipping carriers. If you have an account with one of the shipping companies, please put that account number on the tag form or print the return label for your package. Why buy your shirts extra long? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Sometimes when we're trying to balance your shoulder width, make your armhole smaller, or the sleeve length, we always recommend you buy them extra long. Whenever in doubt, buy them extra long. Now, this is just a reminder. We've covered a lot of this in the previous segments of this tutorial. But what we're going to do now is we're going to actually show you a running tutorial explaining some of the nomenclature of the shirt and the process to look for when you're out shopping for your new shirts. First of all, I'd like to let you know that we're always available by email 24/7. Normally within an hour we'll get back to you. Be specific with your questions. If you're one of those individuals that wants to talk on the phone, tell us where we can call you and what time you want us to call, so we don't inconvenience you at work or at home. We never like to do that. Make sure that you put us on your address book on your provider so that we're not considered spam. A lot of times if you're not on an address book, it comes back, we never get a hold of you. We may have questions if you've submitted your shirts for recut. We are available on the weekends by email at any time. We will get back to you, including Sundays. Also, you might give us a heads up if you're going out shopping on a particular day at a particular hour. Send us an email saying you're going to be for the next several hours on Saturday between the hours of 12 and 9. We'll make sure that somebody will pick up the phone. If you have a question while you're talking to your salesperson, don't take it for granted that salespeople know anything about recuts. Believe me, some of them couldn't take the measurements off a shirt. So you're going to know a lot more about taking measurements for recuts than most of these salespeople that work in retail stores. So if you come across somebody and they don't understand, you want us to talk to them, give us a holler. While you're in the store, we'll talk to that salesperson. Hope this helps. Hope to see your shirts on the recut table. Okay, what I'd like to talk about are some of the scenarios that you'll encounter or you have to look for to get the best prospective new shirt for your recuts. And first of all, I'd like to talk about shoulder width. Shoulder width standard or ideal shoulder width runs where the actual end of the shoulder meets the armhole. Now, unfortunately, when you're out buying shirts for most men, the shoulder yoke is 1 or 2 inches below standard. And so when men are requesting that the shoulder yoke be put in the correct position, we can do it. We do that, but what happens is we lose that amount in the sleeve length. So we always recommend that you buy sleeves extra long. So for an example, let's say that this individual was a 34-inch sleeve length and the yoke was down here, say 2 inches. Well, if the sleeve was correct to start with, we would lose 2 inches. This sleeve length would be 32. It's not ideal. Wouldn't fit at all. So in this case, this individual would buy the sleeve length 35 or 36 or even 37 inches. It doesn't make them difference because we're going to remove the sleeve placket and we're going to recut it and we're going to make it 34 inch and at the same time balance the sleeve where it should be. Now, the shirts you submit, if they're extra long, normally it runs for the end of the back collar right below the buttocks. This would be your standard shirt length. But since you're buying them extra long, they'll probably be down here somewhere. And that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to recut them to the correct length. Now, another problem that you'll encounter is the armholes will be extremely large. Well, that's another reason we'd like you to buy the shirts, is because we're going to end up making the armholes smaller. And obviously when you have big armholes, the sleeve widths are extra wide. And what we're going to do is we're going to slim them down to the correct width. And in this graphic here, this individual is a standard body, but when you purchase shirts, they could be out here somewhere. And obviously what we're going to do is we're going to recut them to a standard fit according to the model shirt you've submitted or to the measurements that you have taken. Now another thing is when you buy a shirt and everything fits you except the collar. In this example, if the collar is too big, we would do a split collar. We actually cut it in half, put it back together, adjust the neckline, and the collar fits. Or what we would do is when we're doing a new collar from the tail, we cut a piece here and we make our collar, brand new collar, and in many reasons to match the fabric of the shirt. The piece that we remove here we'll put a coordinating color. Now, we don't recommend this if you're going to wear the shirts out. And this will give you a lot of feedback as to what we're doing. So don't be afraid to pick these shirts, to put a tape to them. It will work, believe me. It's easy. We've done thousands of them, and many men are jumping in on the bandwagon for the first time because they're actually getting shirts that fit.